Greetings from Mystic Moons. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. Mystic Moons extends the warmest greetings ever. Today, we're going to take a political trip. And it's almost like taking a cold shower. So we're just going to stay seated where we are in our comfort zone and think about things. Think about just what is what. I mean, if it is the way that I'm reading it, we are being gaslit to the umpteenth degree. Umpteenth degree. And we're talking about these drones. That's been in the news nauseatingly so in the last 3 weeks or so. 3 weeks, maybe a month now. The point is, we do know that these drones have been around for years. 2020, 2019, and it's always been hush, 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 hush. Well, and all of a sudden they started talking about it, and we do know, what we do know is the fact that these drones apparently are over every single U.S. base. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you when they say it's been over every single U.S. base? Does that kind of, I don't like to use that word. Does it indicate a point of origin, like where it came from? Maybe they just decided to give test runs from the United States bases. Of course, I'm not trivializing things, because when you want to do something, the first thing you have to do is peekaboo, in secret. And then you peek and see, is it the right time? Is it the right time to come out? And then you go boo is when you deliver your intended purpose. Now, just showing you the drones is not the intended purpose. You know that, of course, don't you? We're not stupid. The intended purpose is much more complicated than just, hey, look at me, look at me. Well, the drones are, in fact, we know in our guts. It's our tax dollars at work. They're showing you where your money has been going. And I'd like to know, and you'd like to know, when are we going to get some of that? When are we going to get some of that? Like, we do know that they are, in other words, they have the citizens, the population, we the people, running around like cavemen, Neanderthals, cars that give us 22 miles per gallon, and we're supposed to go hoorah, hoorah, after we shell out $60,000, $70,000 for a new one, or half of that for something that's 10 years old and needs constant repair. I mean, it's just like how we're being treated. It's supposed to be a democracy, a democratic republic, of which, what are we getting out of it? I mean, I'm talking about all the NATO countries involved, Germany, France, because we're all being gaslit. We're being, there's people that are like living high, and while we are living low. And we're going, what's that in the sky? It's scary. Yes, it's scary because somebody's trying to lab rat you. And whenever you see a lab rat, well, they make mice and rats in a laboratory, you're being conditioned for responses, right? We understand that. And then maybe if you go through the maze and you get like a little treat at the end, well, one day that treat's not going to be there, or they're going to dissect you, and maybe if you alive or dead, and see how your brain function during that exploration to get that treat. Same thing with these drones. We're being mouse-led. Maze. It's a maze. Oh, nothing can be that fast. Well, apparently we've been finding out lately that these things can go 500. They could go any type of speed, miles per hour. Any type of speed. And we're like quibbling, whatever that word is, about hobbyists hobbyist drones going 30, 40 miles an hour, while these real ones can go maybe a little bit more. I mean, they're playing with us. What is this in the sky? Is it aliens? Well, we're part of the cosmic family. Of course, there's beings in other planets. Common sense in our guts tells us, duh, duh. Wake up from your slumber. Wake up from your sleepy, normalizing. This never happens to us. We go to work every day. We're moderate in all our moderate drinkers, moderate this, moderate that. We don't take things to the extreme. When are we going to wake up as a population and realize that it's not Kansas anymore? Even the fact they remade The Wizard of Oz, and what's the statement? You're not in Kansas anymore. You're not back in the 1700s. You're not, and then you're living in some sort of high-tech surveillance, data-orientated society. But your thinking is back in the cave, it's prehistory. It's prehistory. What the drones are showing you, basically, is where things are at. They're showing you how transportation, aerial transportation, as well as other types of transportation, are at. They're showing you what it is. They're showing you. Now, how do you feel about still not coming to terms with what you're seeing? I mean, all of a sudden your world is crashing down. You realize that you're living in the Flintstones. You're living in the Flintstones era. And it's not pleasant because we're at the mercy of someone else. And it's to make you feel helpless. It's to make you feel stupid. Now this, instead of like feeling stupid, we should be like gaining as much information as possible. And we know that our elected officials, it's a top down. You don't need to know. And we know this pyramid-shaped societies are not exactly conducive for longevity. So what I'm saying, basically, we're going to ask the spirits, when are we, the people, going to get some of this underground city access? We're going to get a nuclear bunker. We're going to get more instead of you don't need to know and this top secret. Why all the secrecy? Why all the secrecy if we're in a truly democratic society? Or the goal is to educate people and to have people flourishing, not being in a stalemate, and not having to be like their minds rotted. We're rotting our brains of the masses, of the population, our civilians, because we refuse to say the drones are ours. That does not say that there aren't drones that are not ours. Every single country has this level of sophistication, of high tech. Every single country has this. Unfortunately, maybe they've been giving countries like Ukraine and elsewhere their defunct, out-of-date junk, weapons junk, of which has cost them their lives. And Russia keeps on saying, we're being very patient with NATO and the West. We're being extremely patient. However, there's a limit. That's why, they're laughing at us because we're like the country, we're supposed to be the most advanced empire ever. But the people aren't but there's two tiers of influence. There's need to know and don't know. And then there's a group of people keeping all the information, all the high-tech gadgets, transportation, lifestyle, etc., to themselves. And we're just going around being happy to have a half an acre of land, if that, or an apartment, if that has a gas stove. I mean, we're not being honest. And for a society to be honest takes a lot of courage. And we keep on spending money like it's nothing. protecting our investments. What is our investments? Our investments is a society that doesn't really care about its people. A lot of talk, but where is it going? It's trying to make us conform to what? Stupidity? Gaslit? Let's just clear the air a bit. Now, you may not want to, of course, understand. You may want to understand, but it may be impossible to understand just how much our world has changed every year, how much our world has really changed, and how much is being kept from the masses, kept from the population. Those drones are out there for a purpose, to see how you react to present day Space Force. Space Force. Space Force, as I mentioned before, isn't just a logo and an artificial bunch of desk pushers. No. Space Force. What do you think Space Force is? Space Force is an active, ongoing program of these drones, of people in areas other than surface grounds, surface habitats, and there is exploration. And it's also, even when you talk about Roswell, happened in the 40s, Roswell, a space landing, and they took it away, and there's been many stories about that. Well, that was just one of many. Not just once did it happen. It happened, I would say, it happened in this country, it probably happened at least 50 times. But they've been keeping and harboring and rechanneling all this spacecrafts and everything else they have. That's why they have it. So there's an ongoing collaboration between Earth, people of Earth, and people, creatures, beings, intelligence elsewhere. And we will get more into this. But right now, let's just do a reading on these drones. We are being deluded by these drones. And do they ever have any intention right now of bringing the people of this country up to speed? Okay. Do they have any intention of sharing, or just still keeping us in this? I don't know what it is. I don't know what these drones are. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I mean, a lot of truisms have been coming out with our leadership. And also, too, now it's about, we're trying to tell you where our development is at. And do you have the cojones? Do you have the desire to get with current times? Or do you wish to? Now, current times, does it mean that you can't garden, you can't do this, you can't do that? Does it mean you have to be relying on the machines of today? No. But it means it's a mindset. They call it a few things. They call it ontology. Ontology is a branch, it's a type of metaphysics, but it's also a type of computer science, philosophies, of which you use data, you use objects, and you use space, things without objects. And you can predictability. So we have here, anyway, we have two pentacles working together. Are they working together by showing us where we're at? Where do you fit in? Can most people accept the fact that we have vehicles that can cloak, zigzag, do all sorts of things that only sci-fi aliens can do, we've been told? Can people accept that? And here we have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is a sneaky way of introducing, like, those who can join with the program and those who can't. Or that's just a sneaky way of the way it works. We don't want to scare you. We don't want to rock your boat. We don't want you to stop paying, stop spending the dollars, because the dollars are what gets us more vehicles and higher tech. And we have the Queen of Wands. it's like wondering if we're going to be receptive to the idea of moving forward. I mean, these things are running, there's so much high tech things. I mean, there's such a difference between the population of the United States and then those who are running the show. These that are involved with programs that are not discussed. And this is another one, thinking that we can't handle the Five of Pentacles, thinking that we cannot handle the truth. There's an attitude that many of us can't handle where we are really actually at. Maybe that's why we have marijuana dispensaries everywhere. That's why we have wine and spirits. That's why we have dumbed down educational systems. That's why we have just press a button. We'll spell it for you. We'll write it up for you. Just speak. Don't bother to type. There's something going down to continually dumb down Homo sapiens. And if we let this continue, we'll be so far low, we won't be able to even ask for sharing in the high-tech realities of which exists right now. So, can we get a piece of the pie? Right now, I would say we have to advocate that we are not going to take it. We are not going to fall for those we don't know. Yes, you know. Yes, you know. We refuse to accept the fact of you thinking that we are totally crazy and stupid beings. We are not. So we have the we know that there's sneakily going about around this. Let's look at this Five of Swords, all right? This Five of Swords, not Five of Swords, Five of Pentacles. Now, let's see. This is for your own good, not to venture out of a collective, out of a box, right? Not to venture too far out of a box that you can be categorized in, because in the eyes of a few, we're controllable as long as we remain as data. So here we have the Six of Cups, and we have the Spade, the Page of Swords. Now the Six of Cups, exploration. We should find ways in which to say that we want to see more. We have to find ways that we're not buying it. That doesn't mean that there is not going to be something nasty happening. It doesn't mean that, like right now they're saying, radioactive dirty bombs. Now, it's got to be, everything's already planned out, obviously. Because why and all in concert did all these look at our vehicles appear over all the bases, all the places, and it has appeared before, years before, but they're talking about it now. Why do the media want to talk about, are these from this world? Is it UFOs, UAPs, or Russia, China, Iran? I mean, this is all distractions. This is all pre-recorded in a way, pre-filed, pre-stated. It's a portfolio we're reading off. It's an agenda. It's an agenda which they're trying to see where people can go with this. If you believe that these are from the Chinese have their own, of course, and they're all working to this. They're all working on the same wavelength, which is why they share everything. If you see it up in the sky over New Jersey, Connecticut, it's elsewhere too. It's not just over here. And because every country has their bases, every country has their sensitive sites, you will find this same type of things. Now, the point you have to think about is this: how do we get this country, USA, to feel about protecting its citizens against acting further? I can do it. ha ha type of attitude. I can do it. Yes, we know that all these things can be done, but is it necessary? Is it necessary to have weeding out the herd? Is it necessary to have to play these games? You know, why cannot we just straight up say, this is what we have? When it's perfectly obvious, this is what we have. And it's perfectly obvious that perhaps just like showing what we have, we could also show what it has attracted. You know, we have the UFOs that we shot down. They didn't come from this world. They came from other worlds, and maybe those other worlds have like are are ticked off. They could be. And when are we going to find out? Are we having to like cull a certain portion of the human race to appease some sort of intelligence because we sabotaged something that they had in mind? There's lots of complications. It's not like, and then again, why don't we share what we really know? Is that so hard to do? Why do we have to be sneaky about it? Sneaky. Here we see, here we see someone's deciding, a king of cups. And again, they're waiting to see how we react to the knowledge of our advancements. Our advancements have been going on hundreds of miles fast. Hundreds of miles, hundreds of miles. We have gone leaps and bounds, and we will continue to go leaps and bounds. And if we, the civilians, remain obtuse, head in the sand, we will not be able to be even worthwhile to be counted as alive. That's just the way it is. We have to embrace the realities of where we're at and demand full disclosure. Demand disclosure. I mean, if it's in the sky buzzing around, how much of a hiding is that? How much is of a top secret is that? And why the top secret? Why the top secret? Yes, we do know that we're going towards outrageous drone warfare. We know that. But can it be deterred? Yes, it can. It can be deterred by rationality and education. And the first thing to do is to educate the people. So I would say, yes, these drones is our first step in accepting the times that we live in, Right now, all the beating hearts in the world, this is what's happening now. It's not flying saucers, it's not an invasion. However, every country has the same thing. On the top, every country has the same thing. So if we were to like collude, disagree with each other, yes, it would be nasty. And that is not the way to get attention, is to create an incident of which these things would manifest themselves in a negative manner. In a negative manner. We can join to a degree. Not a melting pot, but we can join. First thing we have to do though is come clean about where our space program is at, where these drones, the money, we know the drones are ours. And then what is the purpose? What is the purpose of trying to kickstart something that is really nasty? What is the purpose? That's the whole thing. All right, until the next time, I hope you enjoyed or think about what this program is really about, what these drones are. These drones are ours for the most part. They're ours, and every other country has them just as well. They have them. We are not unique about this technology. Russia has them, China has them, elsewhere has them. Warfare has changed. You can tell that by the sight. Are they putting things in your food, air, and water and drink? Yes, you know that. They have been since manufacturing became a thing. That's why our contamination with many things, air and water, is at the state that it's at. Now, we can just go around and talk about different distractions and not accepting where we're at. And we can demand full disclosure. And that's a time for us as people to ask, when are we going to get the chance to upgrade to high-tech living and get out of this Neanderthal, ooh, I'm so scared. Look at this, look at that. Now remember, that will not stop just the knowledge or just the fear. It will not stop negative things, bad things from happening. However, it gives you a lot more to work with, doesn't it? Knowing as opposed to guessing. All right, so if you have any comments, please add on. I would appreciate it. And if you want to have an idea about where this is going, that would be most appreciated. Well, thank you again for listening, and once again, goodbye.